Hi, everybody, and welcome back for another chapter of Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj's I Am That. And today we will be looking at chapter 41, Develop the Witness Attitude. Develop the witness attitude. What is the daily and hourly state of mind of a realized man? How does he see, hear, eat, drink, wake and sleep, work and rest? What proof is there of his state as different from ours? Apart from the verbal testimony of the so-called realized people, is there no way of verifying their state objectively? Are there not some observable differences in their physiological and nervous responses, in their metabolism or brain waves, or in their psychosomatic structure? Actually, I don't know a lot of information about it, but there's a gentleman named Gary. I can't think of his last name at the moment. Somewhat older gentleman who's online and non-duality teacher, I guess you would call him. Also a very successful businessman. And I believe he is undergoing these sort of tests himself, along with other people, allowing scientists to study the brain waves in the body of those who are self-realized, those who have had this transformation take place. So if you'd like to find out more information, you can do a search for him. I can't think of his last name right now, but anyways. Nisargadatta Maharaj says, you may find differences or you may not. All depends on your capacity of observation. The objective differences are, however, the least important. What matters is their outlook, their attitude, which is that of total detachment, aloofness, standing apart. Does not a Jnani feel sorrow when his child dies? Does he not suffer? He suffers with those who suffer. The event itself is of little importance, but he is full of compassion for the suffering being, whether alive or dead, in the body or out of the body. After all, love and compassion are his very nature. He is one with all that lives, and love is that oneness in action. I always say, unless these spiritual concepts bring you to a state of love and compassion, they're meaningless, they're pointless. Not that love is the ultimate. I know that you have to go beyond all concepts, even love, even divine love. But if you look at humanity, if you look at the world, there is something divine about love and compassion and mercy and forgiveness. This is what the world needs. This is what our bodies need, our minds need. Just love. That is why I know some very, very beautiful human beings who are not spiritual at all, but their hearts are full of love, full of gratitude, and full of joy. So that's why they don't need to be spiritual, because they're already living from that place of love and kindness. But it's more than just being nice and kind. It's that deep love that comes from the heart. So hopefully that's the transformation that's taking place for all of us, is that we're becoming more loving, authentically, not out of fear, of course, or out of some sense of spiritual pride, for sure not. Love needs to be humble and like water and air, just like sunshine, natural. Yes, untainted. I'm just sitting with that love in my heart. This line brings tears to my eyes. After all, love and compassion are his very nature. Love and compassion are his very nature. Stephen Levine used to say, we become more loving by watching how unloving we are. We become more loving just by watching and observing how unloving we are. If you really just sit and watch the mind, there's not a lot of love in the mind. The mind can be very judgmental, very harsh, not just with others, but with you. The abuse, if you want to call it, it's maybe a little extreme, but the abuse, the violence, it always happens here first in our own minds. And then, of course, whatever's happening internally will then, of course, happen externally. So that's why it is important to love yourself, to just not just love a false self, of course, but love the totality of what you are, what you really are, which is love. Being in that space of love. Every cell and fiber of your being, just sending love and light and compassion and mercy to yourself, and just letting that flow outwards to all other sentient beings, plants, animals, and of course, God, the divine, the beloved. It's not just about a feeling. It's not being obsessive about a feeling or attached to a feeling or dependent on a feeling. You know, some people are very like, oh, love, love, love. I need love. I need love. You don't want to be dependent on anything. But there is a residing. Actually, it's not about going out trying to seek something. I want this love, you know, out of desperation. It's about a relaxing back into the love that is present in the heart. It just comes back to the beingness again, just being that love. The body breathes, and that love, that presence is felt. And then whatever arises in this moment, whether it's a thought or a person or a cat or a bug, whatever arises in the moment, it enters that field of love. So it's not a doing again, it's just a being. After all, love and compassion are his very nature. He is one. The Jnani is one with all that lives. The self-realized being is one with all that lives, everyone that lives, everything that is alive. And love is that oneness in action. How does the oneness act? Love. It loves. When I used to be Catholic years ago, I forget the Latin. I guess it's Latin. Seems like such a long time ago. But when we love, we incarnate God. I can't think of it right now. When we love, we incarnate God. God is love, says the Bible. So when we love, we incarnate God onto the planet. People are very much afraid of death. The Jnani is afraid of nothing. The Jnani is afraid of nothing. No more desires, no more fears. But he pities the man who is afraid. After all, to be born, to live, and to die is natural. To be afraid is not. To the event, of course, attention is given. The Jnani is afraid of nothing, but he pities the man who is afraid. He sees the man that is afraid and he feels compassion for him. Because to be born, to live, and to die, it's natural. That's the natural state of affairs. But to be afraid, especially to be paralyzed by fear. People who are always worrying, always stressed, always afraid of what the next moment will bring. That is not normal. That is not natural. To the event, of course, attention is given. To each event, awareness is there, and the appropriate response happens. It happens. Imagine you are ill a high fever, aches, shivers. The doctor tells you the condition is serious. There are only a few days to live. What would be your first reaction? I love the human mind. It's always trying to figure everything out. Maharaj says, no reaction, no reaction. As it is natural for the incense stick to burn out, so it is natural for the body to die. It's natural. Really, it is a matter of very little importance. What matters is that I am neither the body nor the mind. I am. I am neither the body nor the mind. I am. Nisargadatta was firm, resolute. He obviously knew his true nature. That's an understatement, of course. We're talking about the cosmic force of Nisargadatta, but he was very clear that he was not the body. He was not the mind. It was beyond a clarity. It was realization. It was liberation, enlightenment, whatever he would like to call it. So for him, no reaction. The yoni has already died. That really, again, this conceptual self, imagined self, this ego, me-go, that's a verb that's processing up here. It's afraid of death because it doesn't want to end. But for the yoni, this has already ended. The mind has stopped. The abstract conceptual mind has stopped. Blum, 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 blum. So the death has already happened before the death of the body. The conceptual self has already died. The I, the feeling of an I, the contraction, the energetic contraction of an I has already released. The I has died. Allow the I to die. Allow the I to die. Allow the I to die. And when it dies, you realize it was never really happening. It was never really a thing. It was never real. It was only an illusion, a dream. So what matters is that I am neither the body nor the mind. I am. Nisargadatta says you are always the supreme. You are always pure being, pure awareness. The Parabrahman, the absolute supreme reality. You are always that. The body is happening, the mind is happening, and we love the body, we love the mind, we love everything. All is one, all is loving and lovable. But there's no attachment or fear or desire around the body-mind and trying to keep it alive. That survival, I must live, I must exist, it falls away. The death happens. Your family will be desperate, of course. What would you tell them? I love it. The usual stuff. You know, the usual things. Fear not. Life goes on. God will protect you. We shall be soon together again, and so on and so on and so on. These are the things that we like to hear. We reassure each other. We console each other. It's not to say that if someone's in fear, you just laugh at them or you don't pay any attention to them. I mean, love has a response. Wisdom has a response. Compassion has a response. But it's true. Fear not. What are you afraid of? You've never been the body. Of course, the body will come and go, but you are not the body. You are the eternal. I was always amazed when I was a Christian, how many people were so afraid of death, my Christian friends, like so afraid. And yet we would go to church together and we would be hearing about the kingdom of heaven and gold paved roads. And, you know, there's all these stories and images about what heaven will be like in most religions, this paradise. And yet people were so afraid to go there, you know, and so attached to this world, even though this world was offering them a lot of suffering and pain. So it just shows, again, that the mind sometimes would rather hold on to the painful situations. It would like to stay behind the cage. I'm happy here. I know this suffering. I am comfortable here. This is my comfort zone. I'd rather stay here than go to paradise because I don't know what paradise will be like. I mean, it sounds good, but what will the reality be? when I get there to that paradise. So fear not, life goes on, life is eternal. Yes, God will protect you. Maybe not the body, because ultimately, people pray and then people die and people feel like, God, why didn't you save me? But it's your soul, we could say. It's your essence that God is protecting, which doesn't actually need protection. But it's inevitable. We are here, the body is here to be born, to live, and to die. So that's the natural order of things. God can't keep everyone alive forever. Otherwise, what would that be about? And the world would be overpopulated, and we would all be 120 years old, walking around with our old, feeble bodies. So, okay. But to me, the entire commotion is meaningless. The commotion, good word, the entire commotion, the human drama is meaningless. For I am not the entity that imagines itself alive or dead. I am not that entity. The me-ego that imagines is the key word, itself alive or dead. That's just imagination. And he is very clear that he is not this imagined self. What I am neither born nor can I die. That which is eternal has no birth, has no death, birthless, deathless. I have nothing to remember or to forget. I have nothing to remember from the past, nor do I need to hold on to some sort of concept. He is beyond all concepts, beyond all doing. I am neither born nor can I die. I am the eternal. I am the source. I am the supreme. What about the prayers for the dead? Praying for the dead. By all means, pray for the dead. It pleases them very much. They are flattered. The Yanni does not need your prayers. He is himself the answer to your prayers. The Yanni is the answer to your prayers. I feel like a lot of times when we pray, the prayer is, for a large degree, it's for us, right? We feel better when we pray. Even for somebody who has died, even though they have died, it consoles us as well. Praying for the dead, God bless this person who has died, and we're sending love and light and good wishes to this person who has passed. But somewhere within, yes, we want them to benefit from these prayers, but it's also for us. It makes us feel more connected to God, more peaceful, more reassured that everything will be okay. How does the Yanni fare after death? The Yanni is dead already. The Yanni is dead already. Do you expect him to die again? He's already dead. So again, the body dies, but he was never the body. The mind dies in a sense, but he was never the mind. The Yanni is dead already. Surely the dissolution of the body is an important event, even to a Yanni. There are no important events for a Yanni, except when somebody reaches the highest goal. Then only his heart rejoices. All else is of no concern. The entire universe is his body. All life is his life. As in a city of lights, when one bulb burns out, it does not affect the entire network. So the death of one single body does not affect the whole. There are no important events for Yanni, except when somebody reaches the highest goal: self-realization, self-liberation, enlightenment, not self-liberation, but then only his heart rejoices. Somebody has seen the truth. Somebody has woken up. Somebody has realized their true nature. All else is of no concern. The Yanni, for sure, definitely doesn't get caught up in the human drama, the commotion, as Nisargadatta calls it. And yet at his base, his root, it's love, it's compassion. But all of this surface stuff that's happening, the Jnani doesn't get sucked into that drama. The entire universe is his body. All life is his life. All is one. So as in a city of lights, when one bulb burns out, it does not affect the network. The death of a body does not affect the whole. The other day, Nisargadatta said, the other day when I was speaking to him, he said that when one person dies or when 1 million people die, the same amount of death is happening in each of those situations. The particular may not matter to the whole, but it does matter to the particular. The whole is an abstraction. The particular, the concrete, is real. This is what you say. To me, it may be the other way. The whole is real. The part comes and goes. The particular is born and reborn, changing name and shape. The Jnani is the changeless reality, which makes the changeful possible. But he cannot give you the conviction. It must come with your own experience. With me, all is one. All is equal. All is one. All is equal. All is one. All is equal. The whole is real. The part comes and goes. The particular comes and goes. The individual body comes and goes. The particular is born and reborn, changing name and shape. But the Jnani is the changeless reality which makes the changeful possible. Are sin and virtue one and the same? These are all man-made values. What are they to me? What ends in happiness is virtue. What ends in sorrow is sin. Both are states of mind. Mine is not a state of mind. So what is good or what is bad often depends on which culture you're speaking about. Everything in context. Basically what he says, what ends in happiness is virtue. Loving people, serving people, bringing joy, truth, goodness, health, well-being, peace. What ends in happiness, what promotes happiness and health is virtuous. What ends in sorrow is sin. Both are states of mind. We are like the blind people at a loss to understand what does it mean to see. You can put it as you like. Is the practice of silence as a sadhana effective? Sadhana, spiritual practice effective. Anything you do for the sake of enlightenment takes you nearer. Anything you do for the sake of enlightenment takes you nearer. To know about enlightenment, to go, to follow your heart, to follow what resonates with you, and to go towards that is going to be helpful for your enlightenment. Anything you do without remembering enlightenment puts you off. But why complicate? Just know that you are above and beyond all things and thoughts. What you want to be, you are it already. Just keep it in mind. Lovely. Health and happiness. Health, happiness, love, putting God first. These things can bring happiness and more health and more well-being and peace. Okay. Just know that you are above and beyond all things and thoughts. You are above and beyond and prior to all things and all thoughts. What you want to be, you are it already. Just keep it in mind. Remember, How many times has Nisargadatta told us, you are the absolute supreme reality. You are the Parabrahman. Just hold that in your heart. Allow that seed to be planted into your heart and allow it to blossom forth into full and total realization. Love, truth, peace, oneness, the changeless, birthless, deathless. I hear you saying it, but I cannot believe it. I was in the same position myself, but I trusted my guru and he proved right. Trust me if you can. Keep in mind what I tell you. Desire nothing, for you lack nothing. The very seeking prevents you from finding. You seem to be so very indifferent to everything. I am not indifferent, I am impartial. I give no preference to the me and the mine. A basket of earth and a basket of jewels are both unwanted. Life and death are all the same to me. Impartiality makes you indifferent. On the contrary, au contraire, compassion and love are my very core. Compassion and love are my very core. Void of all predilections, I am free to love. I am free to love. Again, when this mind, the psychological mind with its desires and fears, when it's absent, when it has been silenced, still, even if it's there and you're not paying attention to it, when you're in the heart, when you're surrendered to God, if you will, when you're focused on love and light and happiness and health and peace and truth and goodness, you are free to love. You are freedom itself, Nisargadatta says. You are freedom itself. In this moment, in every moment, you are free to love. You are free to be, free to exist, free to allow this inherent intelligence and creativity to move and to express itself. Jaya Bhagavan, Jaya Bhagavan, Jaya Bhagavan, Jaya Bhagavan. Victory to God, victory to love, victory to truth. What is false can never last, can never win. What is true, what is real, what is unchanging will always be supreme and triumphant. Thank you, Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj, and thank all of you for being here. We'll see you again for another chapter of I Am That. Peace.